Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're diving into something that is literally shifting the ground beneath our feet when it comes to artificial intelligence in the business world. We are talking about Colorado's Senate Bill 26189, better known as the Automated Decision-Making Technology Act. And look, this isn't just another piece of vague theoretical tech policy. This is Colorado laying down the law, creating strict, concrete rules for the digital gatekeepers that are, let's face it, increasingly making life-altering choices for all of us. Whether it's screening your resume or approving a mortgage, machines are in the driver's seat. But with this new legislation, Colorado is pulling the emergency brake and demanding some serious accountability.
Now, you're probably thinking, okay, my organization's headquarters isn't anywhere near Denver, so why on earth should I care? Well, here is exactly why this matters to you. The Colorado Capitol building has basically become the new hub for AI regulation across the country because of how jurisdiction actually works under this law. The legislation specifically targets any person doing business in Colorado. That means if your organization operates nationally and evaluates Colorado residents, like say remote job applicants or potential customers, you fall right under this jurisdiction when the law takes effect on January 1, 2027. It's a massive, sweeping net, and it is absolutely meant to be.
So, here's our roadmap for This Explainer. We're going to break this complex legislation down into 4 actionable pieces: defining the digital gatekeeper, looking at the scope of jurisdiction, diving into the 3-year retention rule, and finally unpacking consumer rights and human review.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, defining exactly what this law means by a digital gatekeeper.
Before we can really understand the rules, we have to understand the tech. We need to know what the law considers to be automated decision-making technology, or ADMT for short, and the law draws a very clear line in the sand between high-stakes AI and everyday software. On the left here, we see what's actually covered as ADMT. The law defines this as any tech using computation to generate outputs, like predictions, scores, or rankings that guide a decision. So we're talking machine learning models, AI recommendation systems, large language models, and predictive systems used in areas like hiring or healthcare. But on the right side, the law explicitly excludes basic technologies that don't generate predictions or materially influence outcomes. So things like anti-malware, spam filters, basic calculators, spreadsheets without machine learning, web hosting, those are all completely off the hook. This law is laser-focused on the systems that actually judge and evaluate us.
And that brings us to the real stakes of this legislation. An ADMT only triggers these heavy legal obligations when it materially influences what the law calls a consequential decision. Now, what does that mean? A consequential decision is one that directly relates to a consumer's access, eligibility, selection, or compensation. It also covers decisions that might impose materially less favorable pricing or terms that limit access. We're talking about the absolutely critical opportunities of everyday life. If an AI is acting as a gatekeeper for these opportunities, the law steps in and demands oversight.
Moving right along to Section 2, let's talk about the scope of jurisdiction.
So, where exactly does this apply? We know it hits organizations doing business in Colorado, but what specific areas of business fall under this umbrella? Well, this brings us to the 7 covered domains. And honestly, these domains brilliantly highlight just how deeply AI has penetrated essential human services. The law explicitly applies to consequential decisions made in education, employment, housing, financial services, insurance, healthcare, and government services. Think about it. If your organization is using an automated system to screen job applicants, underwrite insurance policies, determine loan eligibility, or approve residential leases in Colorado, you are operating in a covered domain. Routine decisions, marketing campaigns, or content moderation, those don't count here. But if you are in one of these 7 pillars making high-stakes calls, the full weight of Senate Bill 26189 applies to you.
Okay, Section 3, the 3-year retention rule.
So, what exactly does the weight of this law look like in practice? Let's talk about the heavy compliance, disclosure, and record-keeping mandates. To understand who has to do what, we first have to distinguish between the 2 types of organizations regulated by the Act. On the left, you've got your developers. These are the folks who build, offer, sell, license, or intentionally modify covered ADMT. They are the creators. On the right, we have the deployers. These are the organizations that actually take that tech and use it to evaluate everyday consumers. Now, developers have to provide all this detailed documentation about intended uses, known risks, and training data. But it's actually the deployers who bear the primary consumer-facing obligations. But here is the kicker, and it's a massive responsibility that both developers and deployers share. 3 years. 3 whole years. Both parties have to retain comprehensive records for a minimum of 3 years after creation. For developers, that means keeping system version identifiers, change logs, and documentation of any material updates. For deployers, it means keeping strict records of the decisions made and the notices provided to consumers. Basically, this ensures that if an automated decision is ever challenged down the line, the digital paper trail hasn't conveniently vanished.
For deployers, specifically, keeping those records is part of a very strict three-step life cycle they have to maintain. Step 1 is the pre-decision notice. Before the AI even looks at a consumer, the deployer has to provide a clear, conspicuous notice right at the point of interaction, letting that person know, hey, an ADMT is going to be used here. Step 2 is the automated decision itself, and Step 3 is the post-adverse disclosure. If the AI makes a negative decision, the deployer has exactly 30 days to provide a plain language explanation of that decision, the AI's role in making it, and clear instructions on how the consumer can exercise their rights.
Which perfectly tees up our final section, Part 4, Consumer Rights and Human Review. This is really the climax of this whole explainer, the actual rights granted to everyday people when things go wrong. These new consumer rights are triggered by what the law calls an adverse outcome. An adverse outcome is simply a decision that denies, terminates, or materially reduces a consumer's access to an opportunity or service. It also includes getting hit with materially less favorable pricing compared to other people. Just imagine getting denied an apartment lease, having your resume instantly trashed by an algorithm, or facing way higher insurance premiums just because of some machine learning score. Under this law, when that happens, the consumer now has a legal right to fight back. So what can the consumer actually do? Well, they get two major rights. On the left here is the right to data correction. Consumers can ask to correct factually incorrect or materially inaccurate personal data that the AI used. Now let's be clear, this does not mean you can force the AI to change its opinion or prediction about you. It strictly applies to factual errors in the input data. But on the right, that's the real game changer, the right to meaningful human review. Consumers can demand that a designated, fully trained human being review the AI's decision, and this human can't just rubber stamp whatever the machine spit out. They must have the actual authority to modify or completely override the algorithm's decision based on the evidence. Now, you might be thinking, are we going to see a million lawsuits over this? Well, no. The law is very clear. There is no new private right of action here. You can't sue a company directly over this stuff. Instead, it's enforced exclusively by the Colorado Attorney General as a deceptive trade practice. If an organization violates the law, the Attorney General issues a notice and grants a 60-day cure period to let them fix the mistake. If they don't fix it, then the AG can bring an enforcement action and hit them with civil penalties. Just keep in mind that 60-day cure period completely phases out on January 1, 2030, meaning the training wheels do eventually come off. And that brings us to our ultimate takeaway from this explainer. Colorado Senate Bill 26189 is not just some local compliance hurdle you have to jump over. It is a massive preview of the future of business operations. It demands that we finally stop treating artificial intelligence as this untouchable black box that's somehow immune to scrutiny. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. As Colorado sets this rigorous new standard for 2027, forcing companies to maintain 3-year audit trails and allowing real human beings to override algorithms, is your organization truly ready for the era of meaningful human review? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this gives you a rock-solid framework for the road ahead.